Hello and welcome back to our week one English grammar. I am Mrs. Jessica Mbachu. Our week's outline is adjectival clause, and here is our lesson objectives. Now it's expected that at the end of this lesson, we should be able to define adjectival clause, identify adjectival clause in sentences, and answer questions correctly. Quickly, what is adjectival clause? Adjectival clause. Now, for you to understand adjectival clause clearly or very well, there is need for you to know what an adjective is, because immediately you look at that topic, adjectival clause, what comes to your mind is the word adjective. And when you don't know what an adjective is, what the function of an adjective is in a sentence, what a clause is, it will definitely going to be difficult for you to understand the topic very well. Now, quickly, on your right hand side is a quick revision of what an adjective, a clause, dependent and independent clause are. Okay, so we have the first one, adjective. Adjectives are words that are used to modify a noun or a pronoun in a sentence. They are used to tell us more about the noun, the pronoun, that is to give you additional information. So what adjectives do basically in a sentence is that they give you more information for you to identify, for you to define a noun or a pronoun that is being talked about in a sentence. Okay, example of an adjective, we have words like fair, words like brave, words like tall, words like short, words like fat, words like black, colors, okay, and so on. Now we quickly go to clause. What is a clause? A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a finite verb, okay? A group of words is not just one word. A clause is not a one word affair. No, it's a group of words coming together, okay, to a function, okay, either as an adjective, as other part of speech. But here we are talking about adjectival clause, okay. So a clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a finite verb. We all know subject is the doer of the action, and a finite verb is those verbs in their base form or in their S form or in their simple past form. Okay, example of verb in its base form, we have WALK for work. Okay, the S form is works. Okay, and the past tense is worked. You know, that's a regular verb, so you can have that format for irregular verb also, like eat, 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 and ate. Okay, and we have eats for the S form. So finite verb are verbs in the base form, simple present form, and simple past form. Okay, now there are two types of clauses. We have dependent and independent clause. Now, dependent clause is that clause that can stand on its own. It needs the support of the main clause, that is independent clause. Now, it can stand on its own doesn't mean that it doesn't have a verb and a subject. No, it means that it is lacking that quality, okay, or that criteria or that thing that will make it to stand on its own as a sensible sentence without the help of a main the main clause. All right. Now, independent clause that is equally known as main clause is that part of the sentence which is seen as a clause, okay, that can stand on its own to form a sentence without the help of a dependent clause. Now, example is the man drew the beautiful picture which was sold. The man drew the beautiful picture which was sold. This is basically an example of an adjectival clause, okay, and a main clause, but I'm using it as example to show you a dependent and independent clause. Now look at the part in colored. Okay, look at the part in colored which was sold. Now this is a dependent clause. Sorry, this is a dependent clause because it is giving you additional information to uh the noun phrase here. Beautiful picture, okay, it is telling you more about this picture. So this is a dependent clause. Now here, the one that is not colored, the man drew a beautiful picture, is a main clause or an independent clause because without the presence of this colored part of the sentence, this uncolored part can stand on its own to make a complete sense, okay, or to stand as a sensible sentence. Now, quickly, what is adjectival clause? Before we go to what is adjectival clause, another name for adjectival clause is adjective clause or relative clause. Now, what they do or what they are is that they function as adjective in a sentence to give you additional information to define or identify the noun or pronoun that is being talked about in a sentence. Okay, so their work is that they give additional information. They function as what? Adjective, but they are not one word, they are not two words, they are group of words, okay, that contains a subject and what? A finite verb. So their work is to give additional information to the noun phrase or pronoun in a sentence, okay, and they basically begin with a relative clause like who, whom, which, whose, that, and whoever. Now, I believe by now you must have known the use of who, whom, which, whose, that, and whoever. We don't use them for all kinds of subjects. No. When we talk of human beings, we use who. When we talk about animals and non-living things, we use what? Which. Very good. And when we talk about, we refer to both animals, non-living things, and human beings, we can use what? That. And whose is a possessive, okay, is a possessive, and so on. Now we say that it is a dependent clause, meaning that an adjectival clause or adjective clause or relative clause cannot stand on its own. It needs the support of the independent clause or the main clause, all right? And they answer the question, what kind, how many, and which one. Is that understood? Very good. Now let's quickly look at the examples. Examples we have, they have a water pot. What kind of water pot? Remember, we say they answer the question, what kind, which kind, okay, what kind, how many, and which one. So over here, it is answering the question, what kind of water pot? The one which is made of clay, okay? So this part that begins with this is our what? Good. Adjectival clause. Now look at this second sentence. Mrs. Eunice is the teacher who taught me mathematics. What does she do? Okay. Who is she? How do we know her? How do we identify her? Now here you are defining Mrs. Eunice, okay? You're giving me additional quality, not just any kind of teacher. She is the one that taught me mathematics, okay? She wasn't the one that punished me, rather she was the one that taught me mathematics. Now we are going to the more. That is my favorite. Here that is my favorite is defining, it is describing the mall. There are so many malls, okay, but we are going to this particular one, which is my favorite mall. So this one is giving you additional information, not the one that I hate going to, but this one which is my favorite. All right, now the last one, the class which I bought last month had torn. The cloth which I bought last month had torn, okay? Now look at this. The cloth had torn is your main clause, okay? But this which I bought last month is telling you, it is defining it, is describing the cloth. What kind of cloth, okay? Which one? The one that I bought last month. So adjectival clause basically asks the question or answers the question what kind, which one, or how many. Is that understood? Very good. Now for your activity, you're going to underline the adjectival clause in the following sentences. I have about 3 sentences here. All right, so I want you to read it critically and identify the adjectival clause in each of the sentences. Now, the second activity is that you're going to make sentences, make 3 sentences and underline the adjectival clause, just like the one I made above. Okay, you're going to make your own and underline the adjectival clause. That's all we have for today's lesson. I hope to meet with you next time. Till then, God bless.